Hey guys, welcome back to Pydjango-Tutorial. Today, we'll finally break down on four core concepts in Kubernetes. So pod, nodes, deployments, and services. Don't worry about what these means because we'll go through each of them in very detail. So for this video, we'll just focus on ideas, and the next video will get hands-on experience creating each of these and how these connect with each other. So here's the big picture. A user request comes into service. Service sends the traffic to your pods. So that means this. So pods basically run your applications. So these pods live inside a node. A node is just a computer in the cluster. And a deployment manages those pods, making sure the right number of applications for the pod is always running. So now the question is, what is pod? So the core definition is the smallest piece in Kubernetes is the pod. It's like a wrapper around your container. A pod can hold one or multiple containers. So here you can see I have a pod which is hosting or having multiple containers within it. So all these containers, they share the same network and the same storage. So think of it as a little room where your applications live. Most of the time, you see one application, one container, and one pod. But depending on the use case, you may need to run multiple container within the same pod. So just to let you know, that's not impossible to do. That's possible as well within Kubernetes. Now the question is, what is node? So as I said, node is just simply a machine or a computer where you cluster. Not cluster, but that's running within your cluster. So if you're using Minikube, your laptop is the node. Or if you're running the cluster on the cloud, then all the virtual machines that are running within your cluster are nodes. So if you're using AWS, your EC2 can be your nodes. If you're running Azure, machines can be your nodes. So these nodes are responsible for running the pods. And within nodes, each pod has its own set of resources, storage, and networking. So each node has tools like kubelet to manage pods and kubeproxy to manage networking within the pods. So pods never float alone. They always live inside the node. Now the third component is deployment. So think of a deployment as the manager for the pods. So instead of creating pods individually one by one, you tell Kubernetes, I want 3 copies of my app. The deployment create those copies and manage the complete life cycle of these pods. So if your pod dies, deployment will recreate the new one. If your pod crashes for some reason, deployment will take care of bringing the new pods and even updates them safely when you roll out a new version of your application. So let's say you have 3 applications or 3 pods running and you want to promote a new version of your applications. What deployment will do? It will do a rolling update. So it will first start the new pod with the new version of your application. And once that's up and ready and healthy, it will bring down the first pod. Then it will bring up the second pod. It will bring down the second pod. That's how it does the rolling update. So you never see a downtime within your service or for your service. So think of deployment as an automation manager for your pods. Now, the last thing is the service. So, as you know, pods can die, pods can change. So, in short, pods can come and go depending on the use case. And each time new pod comes up, their IP address changes within the cluster. So, how do users reach your app? Because users need IP address or DNS to reach your applications. This is where service comes into picture. Service solves this problem. It gives a stable address and load balances traffic across all the paths. Depending on the type, we have three major types of services: cluster IP, node port, or load balancer. A service can expose your app inside the cluster or to the outside world, depending on the service type we use. Now, don't worry about the types, because when we start creating our own service and connecting it with the pods and deployment, you'll see all these things in practice. That's when you'll understand it more clearly. So don't worry as of now if you don't understand it. Just remember what is service and why do we need service and what type of service we have. And once we start creating manifest for services, pods, and deployments, you'll get a better understanding how these works. Now for the quick recap, pod holds your application container or your application images. Node is the machine running those pods. Deployment manages pods. Scaling, updating, healing, everything is managed by deployment. Service expose pods with a stable address so your applications are always accessible. Together, they form the foundation of everything you'll build on top of Kubernetes. So these were the core concepts within Kubernetes that you should know before starting to create your own deployment, pods, services, and containers, because these are the basic building blocks of Kubernetes. So with that, in the next video, we'll actually create these objects inside the Minikube cluster that we set up in the last video so you can see them in action. If this video helped clear things up, hit like and subscribe, and check the full Kubernetes playlist on my channel, Pydjango Tutorial, and see you in the next one. Thank you.